about to go round 2, a repeat offender, James Worldwide Watson here on the Bilge Podcast. Man, we wanted to catch up with you yet again. The last time we talked to you, you were somewhat muzzled a little bit, and man, a lot has happened in the last month and a half or so. And as we sit here on your beautiful porch, you're building a gorgeous home just next door here on the shores of Table Rock Lake, legendary Table Rock Lake. We just want to sit down and rap with you a little bit.
It's been a while since you guys have been to the house.
Yeah, it has.
Last time you were in town, you stayed at the a sponsored event deal, which is good because it's free. Well, tonight's free too, by the way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't think I've ever charged you guys to stay here, but no, thanks for having me on. You guys got a big drive tomorrow. Get to Murray for a good old-fashioned beat down going down on Murray.
Yeah.
That's going to be a dandy.
It should be. The last time you were there, you smashed them, dude.
Dude, that was so much fun. It's spawning everywhere.
Dude.
Probably going to be a little later.
You love those like clear water fisheries like that. You always shine in those. Dude. And what's crazy is like those clear water fisheries like that, you would think like the finesse guy or even out here on Table Rock Lake would dominate. But a lot of times, plopper, buzzbait, big old giant baits, like that's your style of fishing.
You bet. FFS.
Yeah.
Freaking flipping stick.
Yeah. I love that. That's
you know what's coming, right?
Just throw another analogy out there. Or what is that, an acronym?
Yeah.
Not an analogy, an acronym.
It is it?
Yeah, an acronym.
A simile. I don't know. I'm not. It's been a while since I've been in school.
Dude, James, this lake house is awesome. And a lot of guys, you've hosted Ish Monroe, Ike and Ellie, John Cruz. It's crazy because the bathroom there in the garage right there, you always have guys sign.
You bet.
Polinick, etc.
We're going to sign this after tonight,
yeah,
too.
You have the event.
Going to be on there.
Yeah, you have the
Nebo
event on there again. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and
it is. That's cool that you said that.
Yeah.
Because that is kind of like, all right, let's go look. Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And if you do, a matter of fact, for the viewers who are interested in coming to Table Rock Lake, I mean, you got Big Cedar Lodge, you've got Bass Pro Shops right down the road here. But if you do come and visit Table Rock Lake, which is awesome, clear water fishery, of course, this home right here is for rent.
That's right. Rentbranson.com.
Yeah.
My house, look up by the name Montage. Yeah.
That's awesome. How about the big monstrosity next door?
I don't know what I'm going to name that.
Yeah.
Big mother.
But can you rent that one too?
It will be.
It will be for rent. Yeah. Very cool.
It'll be a limited calendar, but think we're going to be sitting at 7 bedrooms, 8 baths over there.
Wow, that is awesome.
So we're sitting at 7 bathrooms, 4.5 baths here.
Yeah.
Plenty of boat parking.
Plenty of boat parking. You know, if the construction's done, we'll have the carports open so you can park under the carports. Don't have to unhook, get your boats wet or anything.
Dude, you've been traveling fishing for a long time, as have I. It is so hard to find an Airbnb or a rental home that's like tournament fisherman friendly, and like this is it right here.
Dude, wouldn't that be nice if we're looking up a place to stay and the first thing it says is fisherman and boat friendly?
Yeah. That's
and then you just stop looking.
Sold. Book it.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know how many's asleep. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's fisherman and boat friendly.
Dude, that's amazing.
We'll get 6 people in it.
So you got what shirt did you put on? We just had dinner, and did you put a flipping boat dock shirt on?
No, I got a fishing boat docks, the FBD fishing boat docks. We call this the scripted one.
Yeah.
So we're fishing boat docks. We got all sorts of different things coming out. She's got her boycott.
Yeah.
Or Boyd.
What does that even mean? I thought it was a Metallica logo.
It is a Metallica.
Yeah, it is.
You don't want to mess with her. That's what it means.
So the whole FBD, flipping boat docks,
fishing
boat docks movement,
I like flipping boat docks too.
Has really taken off. Dude, we were just at the Classic last month. Yep. I saw so many of those hats sold. Like, what does that movement mean? Like, what is the movement? Like everyone likes fishing boat docks, right?
Dude, it's just crazy how I did on a social media post one time. It's like, fishing boat docks, and people are like, oh, that's not. Now, come on, people. It's fishing boat docks, and it caught on, and we just ran with it.
Yeah.
And everybody would text me and say, I love fishing boat docks. I fish boat docks. How'd you catch it? Fishing boat docks. and it just took off. And I'm like, we got to run with this.
I think it's like the timing, right? The timing of the environment of the sport when everyone's out in the middle of the lake doing the forward-facing sonar thing. They can relate to fishing boat docks because that's like the roots of bass fishing right there. Going down the bank, fishing boat docks.
That's right. And I'm not anti forward-facing sonar by any means, but I do believe in the heritage and the roots of bass fishing.
Yes. You got to protect those, dude.
You got to protect
that. At all costs.
Yes. And fishing boat docks is something we do here on Table Rock Lake, Lake of the Ozarks. It's just funny. It's just funny how it was just shot at me one time, and I say, yeah, FBD's right, fishing boat docks.
So, on the drive over here from Fort Worth, we left at like 6 a.m. or so, 7.5 hour drive to your beautiful home here. We actually drove over Lake Eufaula 3 times over 3 different bridges. And there's a BPT event going on right now.
Yeah.
79 anglers, not 80 anglers.
No.
79 anglers. And I was looking to the left and the right going over these bridges.
Where are they?
I didn't see one guy fishing.
No.
BPT event going on. I didn't see one guy flipping boat docks, fishing boat docks, nothing.
No.
It's crazy.
Dude,
It's a big lake.
That is a huge, huge lake. I've driven over it so many times on my way to other events.
Yeah.
And every time I drive over, most of the time the wind would be blowing about 700 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And the waves would be crashing into the riffraff right there and blowing stuff up on the road. And every time I just close my eyes as I'm driving across some long ass bridges, and I'd pray, "Oh, please, baby Jesus, don't ever send me here for a bass tournament, please, baby Jesus." That's all I can think about.
Well, let's just say Jesus saved you from having to fish a bass tournament there.
Thank you. Holy cow!
So, all kidding aside, let's get a little serious here. Those are all jokes, but obviously, we love joking around with Worldwide himself. Do you miss being out there? I mean, you're on. What's the correct? Are you on suspension, expulsion, hiatus?
Hiatus. Yeah, I do miss.
You miss it.
I
right?
miss fishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a 2-year suspension from fishing any major league fishing events. Period.
2 years.
BFLs, Toyotas, and they really do how much I love to fish Toyotas. Whatever that one is that they should have eliminated a long time ago that caused a lot of my
warehouse.
Yeah, that one. Nothing against the guys that fish it, but do we really need a $5,000 entry fee to get to the
Is
top?
that what it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
$5,000, dude.
So their
That's tour level ish right
their
there.
version of the Opens is $5,000
Yes.
to qualify.
Yes. Yeah. But guess what else they get? Streaming. They get live streaming
Every day.
every day, all 3 days, live streaming. Maybe just the 2 days. Maybe all 3. I don't know. Guess what else they get? Television.
I would hope that they got streaming if they're paying $5,000 an entry fee. Though.
I'd hope so.
It needs to be paying for something, right?
But good night.
Yeah.
Could we have used that money for the higher echelon of bass fishing to maintain the careers of 80 guys that have fought, clawed, and got their way into professional bass fishing?
Years and years, yeah.
So you don't think that there's not a direct competition for the Bass Pro Tour and the Tackle Warehouse Tour?
Is there still 150 anglers on TW?
I don't think they got that many this year.
But they were supposed to?
Yeah, I think the field was supposed to be at 150 person field.
Will it be next? Do you know if it'll be next year? Because only 5 qualify going forward, right?
To the Bass Pro Tour?
Right, from TW.
Yes.
So 150 anglers compete and only 5 move
Advance.
up.
That's correct. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. And then 5 due to points on the Bass Pro Tour were supposed to be eliminated over a career average. And
Every year.
Yeah. Yes. So when the big shakedown comes over the next 24 months from 80 to 50, there's really going to be 35 career anglers like myself
Who are out.
That could be just about anyone that's got a career average of 45 place and below. If you think about that.
Is there a list? Is there a way for people to see?
Did you say is there lisp?
I'm not going there yet. I know where a lisp is.
Is it silent? I'm sorry.
Is there a list or a public way to see who is on the verge of getting kicked out?
I don't know if you can, not that I'm aware of, a compiled like 3-year average.
Here's the 35 dudes.
I don't think that's on the website.
Yeah.
I think you can only find the Angler of the Year from each year.
Right.
Then
like
you got to do
the math yourself.
Yeah.
Do they send you guys a list that say like, hey,
yes,
you're in jeopardy?
Well, they send you the list, and here's where the career average sits at. Like, so last year or this fall when I did the podcast with you guys, I talked about this probably being my last year. Well, kind of like Timmy Horton. Timmy Horton retired. And then next year he showed up. He decided not to retire.
Right.
So depending on how good the fishing's going, and I did a really shitty first one and a really good second one. So things are going and we're starting to go in the direction. It's like, I was 61st overall in the career average.
Okay.
So that meant there was 19 other guys behind me in career average.
Right. Where did you need to be at career average for this coming year?
That for this coming year to make the 66 person field, I think you had to be in the top 45.
Really?
I think. It's so confusing. And this is our livelihood.
Yeah.
But don't worry. It could change 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, it is.
And it could get even more confusing. Or it could be really like shining like a diamond in a goat's ass bright to you. It could be. You know what I'm saying?
It's weird that it's hard to articulate where you need to where the goal post is so that you can move forward.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible unless you don't have a life.
Right.
And you're really good with calculus. I don't know. I truly don't know.
I'm pretty good at calculus and I get confused.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And I don't mean to be, I'm a little sarcastic at times.
Sure.
But it is confusing. It not knowing where you're at. And I know 2 years ago, I disputed whether I finished 49th or 50th in the points due to Lake Champlain. Chris Lane had a COVID, or he had a wedding to go to. I can't remember which one it was. And there was 34 guys fishing on Group A and 37 on Group B.
It wasn't
even at all. And I'm like, wait, I should have got 3 more points or 2 more points.
Wow.
Yeah, you should have, but you didn't. But here's where you ended up. And I'm thinking, well, what if I lose my career over 1 point?
It's a big difference.
So I raised hell about that. On deaf ears, of course. So I guess it really ain't raising hell. So there it is. I had a 50th, and I'm like, you just really never. I never knew. And here's the solution for a lot of ignorant people. When I mean ignorant to what's going on, well, you just got to catch them better. Don't have work to worry. Shouldn't have to worry about them points. Well, no, you do have to worry about those points. You do have to think to yourself, right now I got 10 minutes left. What can I do? I know I can't win this tournament. I got 10 minutes left. What can I do to gain 1 more point?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
whether that's a classic qualification, a requalification, both sides, both tours,
1
championship.
more point.
Yeah, you're right.
Before we pull that trolling mower for the last time, we think to ourselves, am I going to win this tournament? Am I going to gain 1 more point in this tournament? What's it going to be?
Yep.
And that's the way we operate.
Yeah.
Or how many points do I need to gain to be in at that cut?
That's right. Yep.
Did so you went how many years thinking that the cut was 60 that you needed, or whatever it was that you need to be at?
So since 2019. Well, we really didn't have a feeder system when we started the tour. But once that all come into play, they're like, we're going to take the bottom 10, which was more than 10% of our field.
Because you were only 80?
Yes. Oh, so the BPT's always been 80. And the cut used to be the bottom 10 in the points would get relieved from the tour below us. All right. Now, how do you get looked at for the bottom 10 in the points? Well, if you finish 65th that year in Angler of the Year or lower, 65th to 80th, your career average got looked at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For that year. Right.
So you needed to
For that year.
That year.
So
for that year.
Chopping block that
you
year.
needed
Yes.
you needed to finish 64th or better for
Or-
that year to
not get looked at.
Be
to
untouchable.
automatically qualify for
the next year. Correct.
But if you didn't finish
If you finish 65th
or below,
to
you-
80th, you got looked at
yeah, you got moved to the chopping block.
on the career
Career
side.
average. Got it.
So that I could calculate.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to take my shoes off to calculate that.
Mhm.
So I think I avoided even getting looked at every year except one, and I got looked at, and maybe two. So as long as I didn't get looked at, I just tried to fish the best I could, so I didn't get looked at for
You
getting
knew the
eliminated.
goalpost was I had to finish this year
Yes.
64th or better in AOI,
Yes.
and then I got another year
Yes.
in my career.
Yeah.
And so that's what you focused on.
Yes.
If you weren't having some crazy good year, your mind turned to that 64th, and I just got to get this many points,
Yep.
and I requalify.
Yep. And I hate to be a person. I've never lived my life on, I just want to survive.
Right.
You guys can tell that about my lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Right.
What
You go for the throat
where
every
I've
freaking
accomplished
thing
in
you
the
do.
real estate,
Yep.
Army, and all this stuff. But in the fishing world, I've always known where I was, in the hierarchy of things. I'm no Kevin Van Dam. Can I fish against Kevin? Yeah, I can fish against him. Can a lot of people? Yeah. But once you realize, once you get to this level, which a few years ago used to be very, very important, and we can talk about that later
Yeah.
too. But once you get to this level, you want to do whatever you can to maintain that status, because we used it as leverage
Right.
to our sponsors.
Right.
Man, how many times did I hear, and I know folks have heard this on other podcasts, how many times as an FLW Tour angler did I hear, man, James, we love you and all, but man, we could pay you better if you fish the Bassmaster Elites. That's what FLW guys heard all the time.
Right.
We did. So you got the likes of Ayler, all these guys that fished their way into the Bassmaster Elites from the FLW Tour, and they moved over. The only guy that didn't do that and he stayed at the FLW Tour was Mark Rose.
Yeah.
He stayed there. But all the other guys, they would try to jump in the opens.
Lucas, etc.
They jump in the opens to make their way to the Elites to leave FLW.
Yeah. To get more money.
To get more money.
Because sponsors tend to have more respect for the Bassmaster Elite.
Yes.
Held it on a higher pedestal.
That platform.
Right.
Right.
So going back to the whole requalifying thing right quick, you were talking about, okay, 64th or better. So this is 2024. So when were you told that those goalposts were moved and what you had been fishing for all these years was now different? How many months before the season started?
It was in October
of 23.
Of 23. Yep. This past October that they arranged a Zoom call for us to talk about next year. So we just kind of ended the season a few months before.
That's an 80 angler Zoom call.
80 angler Zoom call.
All with the mics turned on, you could chime in at any time.
No. They didn't. They knew that they would lose control after that.
Listen up, right? Yeah.
So they called and dropped that bomb on us. Now, let me tell you, that was a big bomb.
Now, what was that bomb again?
That bomb was we're going to change the field from 80-man field to a 50-man field.
Over the course of 24 months.
Yeah.
1 year, right?
I can't even remember if it was 1 year at this point or if it was in 2 years. But nonetheless, it had moved the goalpost and relieved 30 guys, soon to be 35 guys, in the next 24 months. And if you were already, like a career average like mine at 60, plus with all the guys that already said that they're leaving, Cody Meyer, Randall Tharp. You're like,
pace,
did I move up? Did
Yeah.
I move up with them leaving? Did I gain a spot now? It was confusing. It was not really confusing. It was unbelievable.
Did many anglers at that time behind the scenes tell MLF this is not cool, or what are
Yeah.
y'all doing?
Yeah, a lot of anglers did.
How many would you say?
I would say
30 of them.
at least, if not 60,
Yeah.
because you just don't know where it's going to fall in.
And MLF received that, or they said, "Shut the heck up."
As soon as we got our, and I can answer that with this answer. As soon as they got done dropping that bomb on us and that thing, they hit send on a press release out to everybody. That's when all of you guys woke up the next day and see, oh my God, MLF's going from 80 to 50 million.
So they sent that out right after.
Right after. No, I bet we didn't even get the freaking phone hung up, and they hit send.
Wow.
Now, why is that?
What do you have a theory?
Yeah, I know why they did it.
No rebuttals, no nothing.
They couldn't reel it back in once here's how they play it. Well, we've already made the announcement. Oh, you have.
Just those few words.
We've already made it
makes
public.
it official.
So
right.
It's official.
Right.
So I know from like when they first did the MLF split pitch meeting and all that Boyd's, he's a salesman, dude. You know, he's got a way of saying things that a lot of people who, especially desperate people, latch on to and believe in. When they were telling you that you guys that they were cutting from 80 to 50 and 30 of you no longer were going to have a career, how did they pitch that as, because I know he did, this is great for the industry?
That's exactly the way he pitched it. This is what our sport needs to do to grow. To grow. This is what we need to do, guys. I thought about this, and I hate the idea of anybody losing their jobs. They didn't really call it that, but I hate it because not all of you can be there with us. Not all of you can be there with us. All right, and I hate it, and there's no way to get around it. But this is what we got to do. This is his pose. This is what we got to do.
You got to pinch your lips.
So after 80 guys dropped everything, committed, pulled the rope
in the same direction,
80 dudes pulling it in the same direction. We don't need those back 30 guys who are also pulling the rope. We only need 50 of those guys pulling the rope.
Exactly, because that's the only way, Chris, we're going to get the sport to grow. Because in 1988, NASCAR did it. The guy won $1 million in NASCAR. In 1988, NASCAR did it, and this is what we're going.
Did he really say that?
He said it on his podcast. His first podcast.
Oh yeah. And
this is the pains that we got to go through to get our sport to grow.
What was his? Did he give a reasoning how losing those 30 would then grow the sport? Like
no.
He just said it would.
It's just he did. He said it's easier to follow 50 guys than it is to 80. It's hard to, I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah.
Of course it's easier. It's easier to drive one truck than me to try to drive both my trucks out of the driveway at the same time. Yeah. That's easier.
Yeah.
It don't make any sense.
Right.
You spend all your time getting to this platform. And you hear all these mixed messages, grow the sport. Well, I thought high school bass fishing's growing the sport.
Right.
I thought college bass fishing's growing the sport. I thought every one of those effing seminars that I went and talked to these kids, and I was doing my part to grow the sport.
Sell tackle.
And now I don't have a fucking job?
Right. Yeah.
That's not growing the sport. You just took 30 less positions from these young kids that are wanting to come up through the ranks.
Sure.
There's now 30 less spots for those kids to have in the future.
I
don't.
The grow the sport thing, both leagues talk about it. You hear both sides talk about how bass fishing's doing great, viewership's doing great, blah, blah, blah. But yet, both sides, if it's doing so well, why is everyone still paying $5,000 to fish a tournament? Why is it so hard it appears for them to get sponsorships because, dude, they get some sponsorships that I'm like, what is that? They get multiple competing sponsorships, but it's so good. Viewership's at an all-time high.
Yeah.
I always see Bass will put those press releases out like about all the streaming numbers, and I'm like, if we have streaming numbers like that, where's all the money then?
Right.
Because that's the engagement we've been dreaming of.
Right. Why is there $1 million less in our payout
Yeah.
than
If
there
everything's
was
good.
last year? Right. Where's it going?
You
What's
guys,
going
the
on?
payout dropped $1 million.
Over $1 million this year.
But everything's fine financially. He said it on his podcast. I watched it on the way here.
I listened to his podcast, and it's so freaking he contradicts everything that is happening with.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, you got to go do your own podcast to defend why you're firing so many people, and let the world hear your side of the story.
Right.
Why I'm doing this, and let's talk about digital and linear. What the?
Yeah. What?
Digital, linear, man on the moon, man in a cave. I don't give a shit. You got to convince me out of your mouth why you're doing this, and nothing that's come out of his mouth has convinced me of how the league's saving any money. Maybe having less boat officials. If you wanted to change the format from a 6-day event to a 4-day event, then make that announcement and figure out how to do that. If you want to protect somebody in a tournament and you want to protect their image and stuff, that's what you got a production trailer for.
Right.
Somehow don't work that certain individual into the show.
Right.
Maybe he come down with a bad case of whooping cough or some crap. I don't know. But edit it out of there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We had the tiger by the tail. What happened to everything? All the good ideas that the Bass Pro Tour recruited people said, you know what? We're going to do something. We're going to do it better. We're going to make it better for every angler. We're going to make it where every angler, this platform, whether they're having a good day or a bad day or a good year or a bad year, will still get more press for that particular angler than he's ever gotten fishing anywhere else in the whole wide world.
So I remember that. I remember back when it was pitched that even if you're not in the top 10, it didn't matter. You would still get live stream TV time. Like, you would still be on camera for the event. It would be spread out. So everyone's sponsors, even if you weren't like fishing at the very top, your sponsors would still have something to pay you for.
That's right. The platform was going to be so good with its media presence,
right,
that even no matter where you finished in the year, people would know who you are. And if people know who I am, they know who General Tire is, Black Rifle Coffee, all the sponsors that back you, they'll know who they are.
So are they going
So what
back?
happened?
Yeah, wait. Are they going back though? So when they cut 30, do the 50 guys, are they now telling them every one of you will be on camera every tournament?
I don't think they're saying that. They're saying it's just going to be easier to track 50 guys than there's 80.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't get it.
What
50 is actually 10 more than 40 when I did the last map.
What do you have to track?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's so complicated in this
I don't know.
tracking?
I don't know. But I can promise you that when this 50-man field happens, that 25. Now I can't name who the 25 anglers are. I can't tell you who they're going to be, but 25, I promise you 25 of the 50 angler field will garnish 7-figure incomes.
But that platform should be elevated, especially with our increased live stream. You know, we do tons of television, as I think everybody's aware of. And I promise you this, okay, I'm certain of this. There'll be 25 of that 50 that make 7-digit incomes. Our world's never been there. Mm-hmm. That's part of this.
He said that in that meeting.
He said it on his podcast, the Duck and Exchange podcast, episode number 1, 36 minutes and 45 seconds into his podcast. Listen to it.
Millionaires.
He says it.
Top 25, all millionaires.
No, he said 25 of the 50.
Okay.
Are going to make
half the field
are going to make 7 figures a year.
7-figure incomes off sponsors. Now, we've been in this as the same time. Me and
Yep.
you've been doing this the same amount of time, 10, 11, 12 years now.
Yep.
We already know who the biggest paid actors are in our business.
Yep.
How many of them make 7-figure incomes? I think maybe 2.
That's
Yeah.
One just
Right
recently
on.
retired.
Yep. You're right on.
I know another one that makes 3/4 right now.
Yep.
So what's going to happen is, here's how that's going to happen. So the money that Mercury pays me, they're going to give that to one of the guys in the top 50 field.
Oh, it'll
They're
just
going to
move.
double up. Yeah, they're going to take that. So
They're not
he's
going to take it out of the budget. They're just going to move that,
You're right.
reallocate all of it to,
yes,
to those guys.
yes, like the
that
Democrats do. They're going to reallocate everything that I worked hard for, and they're going to give it to one of those guys in the 50-man field.
Because that's
Right?
what these endemic sponsors always do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They love to double people's
You're
pay.
right. So if number 49 man in the Bass Pro Tour gets the same Mercury deal as me, well, he just doubled it up. That's how I guess they're going to get these 7-figure incomes. It wasn't, what are we going to do? More TV time, more digital presence, more linear versus stationary. I don't know.
Interesting.
Don't know.
7 figures.
7 figures. Where's it going to come from?
So when that doesn't, look at all those bugs. I'm sorry, I can't help. That's a lot.
Mayfly hatch.
Mayflies. Yeah, mayflies.
What is it?
Y'all are
Going
such
down.
fishermen.
It's happening. That's mayflies.
When 25 anglers don't make 7 figures each, what's his response to that?
Well, I'll tell you what I'd do if I felt I was one of those 25 guys. I'd hand them an invoice for their. Hey, I'm about $825,000 shy here. Thank you.
Do they have entry fees, those 50 guys?
As far as I know, yeah. Matter of fact, I heard it's going up next year. So
What is it?
66 guys next year.
What's the entry fee right now?
I believe it's 5,700.
That's what you've been paying?
I believe
First
so.
two,
I black out.
5,700 a tournament?
Dude, I black out. Here's the deal.
That's way more than the elites.
Here's the deal. Before I made a cast into the third tournament at Dale Hollow that I didn't fish, I'd already paid $20,000 to the league. 20 grand I'd already paid to the league, and I'd only fished 2 tournaments. So
Now that's an entry fees or fines?
good one, Chris. Let's talk about that. No,
So
it's
y'all
like
basically are cash flowing them.
Yeah. What do they do with that money during the winter? Pay their staff? I don't know.
I heard you might not be able to answer this. I heard that some checks didn't go out recently.
I'd heard the same thing that anglers, some that had direct deposits, some that didn't have direct deposits, like from St. T. Cooper, the second event.
Right.
So I got a call. I was on my way home after the championship day, on my way home Monday. I got a call from accounting at Major League Fishing. Hey, James, we need to know your bank information. And I'm like, I don't know my bank information. I said, what'd you have for last year? Oh, we got it such and such bank. I said, that's the same. I don't jump banks.
Yeah.
I might change my underwear once a week, but I don't change my bank every week.
Yeah.
They said, okay, we just want to check. I said, are you hitting send? He goes, yep, tomorrow we'll hit send. I said, how much? He said, oh, looks like you got $19,500. I said, hit send.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. 5 minutes later, I got a phone call. There's another person in accounting. Hey, James, we got a note on here. We got to deduct $10,000 of your $19,500 for your fine. I said, okay. And I picked up the phone. I called Boyd. So that was because I'd negotiated, or we had agreed that I would pay my $10,000 fine for breaking my operating agreement with their agreement for violating the rule 7B, section C3, 4, 5, 7, and 8, whatever it was.
Right.
I was like, okay, I see the rule that you're saying I violated, but what did I do to violate said rule? I never was told.
No quote, no nothing.
No quote, no. Right here on this podcast at this time, it was just said due to my actions on podcasts with Low Budget Live and podcasts with Todd Castledine.
You didn't get fined for. Oh wait, you got fined before us.
Yes, I got fined before you guys, and that's what that's what your fine's for. I'm like, okay, so tell me what I said.
Yep.
I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
What on there. These things. They said no. These are just the one. This is the rule you broke. I said
they won't give you the detail. No. This is exactly what you said.
No.
Wow.
No, none.
Did you ask the angler? Y'all have the angler sport or whatever. Did you ask that lawyer like, hey, can we get details?
I did. I asked the attorney that represents the Anglers Association. I asked him if I could appeal it, get it thrown out altogether, appeal it, reduce it, do something. He calls. He says, I'll find out. I'm like, okay. So I'm sure he had to pick up the phone, call Boyd, and he found out that it's not appealable. I said, oh, that's right. Because you just arbitrarily decided that's not appealable. Well, I'm sorry. Everything's appealable.
Right.
You can appeal anything if you got people that you're able to deal with, reasonable people. And like, okay, here's what they will do, James. Instead of you writing them a check before the December 18th deadline that they sent to you, they'll let you pay that fine. If you want to continue to fish, they'll send you your money back, and you don't have any fine.
Who's they?
MLF.
Okay.
You can get your money back and then not fish the season. I'm like, well, I just did a whole deal with the television production company to do a reality TV show this year, and I have to have the tour to do it. So I'm like, I got to fish. Well, here's what you can do, James. We'll take $10,000 out of any future earnings, if earned, between now and the 15th of April. And if you haven't paid that by the 15th of April through winnings, then we will. You'll have to write a check in order to keep fishing. So they sent me a letter. I signed it, agreed to those terms.
Yeah. Didn't appeal or anything. Did they tell you who voted on you getting was it Boyd Duckett who chose to fine you, or was there like a panel?
Boyd told me that he's not the one.
He told you directly?
He's not on the telephone on my day after Santee Cooper. He told me that he's not the one. It's like, no, James, I'm not the one that decides fines and penalties and stuff like that. I said, oh, yeah, really? You're not? He goes, no. And he throws Kathy Fennell right underneath the bus. Dave Washburn right underneath the bus. He says, they're the ones that determined your fine, the amount. And I said, that's a little excessive. And this is what my whole bitch has been about, is the excessiveness versus everything else that they've done.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm a little more boisterous than everybody else. Give me a little bit more of a fine. Oh, no, just eliminate a bank account.
Have they, because everyone was told about your fine, right? There, I saw the email. I got it sent to me from.
Oh, yeah.
It was everyone was getting sent it.
All 80 anglers got sent an email.
About the $10,000 fine. In it, they said that it is their duty.
As per the rules
that they
have to send that out.
They have to tell the anglers every fine that they give,
every penalty, every rule infraction has to be sent in that form.
Yeah, and that had been a rule for every year, right? Correct.
I'm not aware of that rule at all.
Right, because
this was the first time that they had ever.
So in 5 years,
typed up a formal letter.
Right, in 5 years, that was the only time that they told y'all they had fined or someone had broke a rule.
With the exception of
in an email,
a couple other things where anglers got DQ'd.
Sprague.
they got DQ'd, but there wasn't a formal letter that was blasted out to all the 80 anglers to say that angler's broke this rule number, and here's the amount that we're fining him, and oh, by the way, what he did caused damage to each and every Bass Pro Tour angler's career.
So
that little caveat was thrown in the bottom. That pissed me off.
That's an interesting. We'll go back to that. The polygrapher had told us that, and I don't want to go deep into this part, but he had said that in our podcast that he was told every time someone popped on the polygraph and they had other evidence that they were being fined. That Boyd told them those anglers were then fined. Y'all never got an email or were told
never
any fines.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. What they did to me as somebody that works inside MLF, like I have over the years, what they have done is they wanted to make an example out of me because I got the biggest mouth, and they wanted to scare the living shit right out of everybody else.
Shut up.
Shut up. You cross King Boyd, and this could happen to you. And we were going to show you it could happen to you because it happened to that guy, Watson. He did it.
Right.
Example.
And so they made an example out of me, and I don't know any other way for anybody with any common sense to look at it in any different way, whether you think I'm a freaking big mouth or not. I broke rule such and such according to them, and they have their responsibility to enforce that rule and use any mechanism that they see necessary to enforce that rule.
So I want to put the $10,000 fine into perspective, y'all. So is your entry fee? What did you say?
$5,700.
So that's almost 2 entry fees, 2 tournaments. What you were fined.
It's over 2 entry fees.
What place makes 10? What place do you have to get in an event to get a $10,000?
11th through 40th place pays $10,000.
So 40 people don't make $10,000 in a tournament. So you got
40 guys don't make
41st through 80th.
41st through 80th doesn't make a nickel.
But yet they fined you $10,000.
$10,000.
Yeah, that does seem excessive, especially if precedents hadn't been set on what fines should be.
Right.
I remember you got into a little issue with them before BPT existed, and you got fined. Can you say what that fine was?
Yeah, we might have talked about that briefly last time, but I was fined $4,000 in 2014 or 15 from a Major League Fishing Cup event in Lacrosse in the Mississippi River. And somebody ahead of me that fished against me that day before was ahead of me in the polygraph and come out an hour or so later than my scheduled time. I'm still out there waiting. Has it 2 inconclusive polygraph test according to Mark.
To the polygrapher?
The polygrapher. Sorry, James, it took so long. Had some issues. Gentleman in front of you here had, and I won't say his name, and had 2 inconclusive polygraphs. I said, inconclusive, what's that means? Well, we're the they weren't good. I said, okay. I'm not going to use the word failed.
Right.
They're inconclusive. They don't like the word naughty words.
Right.
Yeah.
I use naughty words.
Yeah.
But so I go in, take my polygraph test. All right, James, that's great. Pass flying colors. Boom, boom, boom. Easy.
Right.
All right. I go to lunch that afternoon. I start blowing Boyd's phone up, Gary's phone up, Boyd's phone. They're not fishing.
Right.
They won't answer. I see them in the parking lot. I go towards them. One goes this way. One goes that way.
Yeah.
Won't talk to me. Now I'm starting to get pissed. I'm getting a run around here. Because I'm thinking, if I finished 5th and a guy that finished ahead of me
Inconclusive.
is inconclusive, Do I get another day of TV time because I now moved to 4th place?
Right. So you're supposed to fish the next day. Well,
Yes.
technically you hadn't made the next day, but
No.
someone didn't pass their polygraph or whatever, inconclusive.
Yes.
So then you would have been up.
But I mean, wouldn't you think that if you're in 5th place and you had to finish 4th to get another day to fish,
Right.
that if somebody in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th place come down with a severe case of diarrheas and couldn't fish, would you not move up?
Yeah.
Or if that one second,
it wouldn't be 6th place or 7th place. Yeah.
Right. It'd be 5th place guy.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
So
Or 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th guy that night dies in a tragic car crash. Did you think they're just going to fish 3 guys? No, 4th guy gets moved up. Now, if a guy fails a polygraph test or has inconclusive polygraph test, logical thinking means I think I just moved up. So I went to dinner with McClellan, Ayler, Jeff Crete. They said, how'd it go yesterday? I said, well, I think I'm going to get to fish tomorrow. You think you didn't finish 1st through 4th? And I said, no, but a gentleman that did had 2 inconclusives. And I'm trying to get a hold of Boyd and Gary right now.
So let's talk about
Let's
it.
talk about
Talk
it.
about
Let's
it.
just talk about it. Because I want, I would
Deserves
like
an
to
explanation.
finish
we wanted clarification of what the next steps
Yeah.
were going to be.
Yeah. So I didn't get that until late that night after their next day's meeting going on. So I wouldn't have fished the next day. It was like 2 days later. I go up to Boyd and I'm like, Boyd, I said, he's like, yeah, James, I'm like, Boyd, what are we going to do about this? About what? Looked at me like I had a dick growing out of my forehead. You can imagine how that went over with me. I did not take it very well. I'm like, what are we going to do about the polygraph deal and blah, blah, blah? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that's when I really lost my shit. I'm like, okay. I said, I guess I should pack my shit up and just go home. He says, that's what you got to do. I said, all right. I jumped in my little truck and I drove home.
Wow.
2 weeks later, I got an email from Gary.
Gary Klein.
Gary Klein. James, due to your breach of confidentiality agreement, we're going to fine you $4,000. And I'm like, got on the phone. Hello, Boyd? No. Hello, Boyd? No answer. Won't call, won't talk to me. Finally, I got a hold of somebody. I don't even remember at this point. And might have been Kelly Jordan. And Kelly's like, girl, you breached your confidentiality agreement. You could have hurt that angler's career and damaged the league. And
By talking to the other anglers?
by talking to the other anglers.
At dinner that night.
Who signed the what? Same thing that I had signed.
Sure.
I didn't call.
You're in the same pool. Yeah.
I didn't call John Johnson a Bass fan.
Right.
I didn't call Spank at Ranger.
I wish
I didn't
you would
call
have.
Spank. I didn't call sponsors raising a big stink about things.
So the issue was that you talked to other anglers in the same tournament
Yeah.
about the guy in the tournament who failed his polygraph.
Yeah.
Inconclusives.
Yes.
Which is also failed.
Mhm.
And you got fined for talking to the
$4,000.
other anglers.
Not $500, not $1,000, not $2,500, $4,000 freaking dollars. Now ask me this question: how much do we get paid to go shoot a Major League Fishing show at the time?
Yeah, how much were you getting paid?
$2,000 an event.
So both events you were scheduled for that year, you
Gone.
gone. They
Mm.
took all your.
Gone.
Mm.
Go shoot them fabulous TV. Make them money. Get paid nothing for it.
All big.
Matter of fact, not only not get paid for it, have to pay them for that time. I had $45,000 invested to fish Major League Fishing Selects. So that's my investment. So a year after the fact, Boyd finally have a conversation with Boyd, and I was sitting right here on my cell phone. He said, James, you handled it all wrong. I said, you handled it all wrong too, Boyd. Well, we can agree to disagree. He said, you handled it wrong. You could have hurt that young man's career, and you could have damaged the league and our reputation and stuff all over that right there. And that's why we did that. And I said, you handled all wrong. I said, because if you would have said something, if you would have took time
Transparency.
to sit down with me and said, James, we don't know how we're going to handle this situation. We just need your support. What do you guys think James Watson would have done?
Yeah.
I would have saluted him and said,
chilled out. Yeah.
I said, yeah, I would have said, yes, sir.
Yep.
Now, had that been Edwin or Skeet or any of the other Bassmaster guys, because this is still elites in FLW.
Right.
I was one of the very few FLW guys
Select
to
guys.
breach that Major League Fishing stuff.
Right.
But could you imagine what Edwin would have done if he had been in my shoes?
Oh yeah, he would have flipped.
And he knew what I knew?
Yeah.
Or Skeet?
Yeah.
Do you not think they would have been in that meeting jumping up and down on Boyd's head until it popped?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy though that his issue was with you talking to anglers and not the actual angler who probably did something wrong, who was not playing by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You're the bad
I don't
guy.
want this podcast to sound like, oh, this is like an MLF bash session, right? But I think we owe the fans, because I see all the comments on a lot of this stuff that's going on, and there's no clarity there either. So I think the whole goal here, sitting down with you, again, there's issues with both sides and all sides and all of bass fishing, but to hear it from the horse's mouth here live in person, I think the fans deserve that.
Right.
I mean, right? Because there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and people still don't know what's going on with James Watson and why is he sitting on the bench when 79 guys are fishing you follow right now.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And again, I hate people calling me a crybaby.
Yeah.
I really don't like being called a crybaby.
Yeah.
But what I won't be is I won't be somebody's you're going to take it whether you like it or not guy.
No.
I'm not going to
You've
be
never been that guy.
a little bit.
Everything, right.
No.
Right.
Give credit where credit's due. You know, I've always said this. You got three options in life. You can lead, you can follow, or you can get out of the way. I know how to do all three of them, and I can gladly sit down in the back of the boat and let you run the trolling motor.
Within reason.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Let's be reasonable here. I can follow instructions.
Yep.
I really can. I can have a really good discussion with Kathy at MLF. I had a really good discussion with Kathy Fennell when she called me before my $10,000 fine and said, James, the podcast that you were on, you're a little radical and out of control. I said, Kathy, I know you're uncomfortable calling me. Are you saying you want me to calm down on social media? She said, yes, need you to calm down because I don't want to assess you any fines or penalties or make you sit out a quarter or a period or anything like that. I don't want to do that. I said, I love you, Kathy. I respect you. I said, you bet, no problem. And 2 weeks later, after I had jumped up and down on some of the angler board members, I had asked, thank you very much. Is it bugging you? Is it too close?
No, I just didn't want this in your view.
Oh, how about this right now?
You're good.
Oh,
it's not the
thank you.
mic. I just didn't want to cover your whole face and stuff.
And my Fishing Boat Dock shirt. Beautiful.
Sorry. Sorry about
60-40 blend. Anyway.
Kathy's always been fair.
Always been fair.
So
we can always have a reasonable conversation. She's calming. She's got a good head on her shoulders. She's a good person to calm everybody down and say, you think rationally and stuff. She's truly, in my opinion, from a guy fishing the league, she should have been running things. They ran FLW.
So you don't think she fined you? You don't think?
No, I don't think she fined me at all because she could have done it right then and there. She could have said, James, I'm calling you because I'm going to give you a fine. I don't want to. Instead, she called and says, I don't want to give you a fine. I need you to calm down. So she didn't mislead me. She didn't do anything that I felt manipulated, but I did believe that after that phone conversation, I believed that everything was calmed down. We're going to move on out. And then about 10 days later, I had such a bad feeling about the conflict of interest and everything and the going the direction it's going and the 80-man field down to 50 and how Boyd is doing these things to benefit 50 guys and throw 35 of us to the streets and say, but don't worry, you guys can come fish the Tackle Warehouse Tour and pay $700 less and fish for an $80,000 first place prize. I don't give a shit what the prize packages are. I just wanted a good platform to promote my sponsors on. In the last 3 years, guess what that's done? It's diminished down to nothing.
Yeah.
And then when the goalpost got moved, you had an 80-man field here. Well, now it's going to be a 50-man field. And it just got kicked over my head, and I couldn't grab it anymore. I'm like, wait a second. It's been getting worse. The platform's been diminished. This is not prestigious at all to be a Bass Pro Tour angler. I don't think it's much better over on the Bassmaster Elite side. I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Right.
But the platforms that we fish aren't as important as the brands that we are.
Right.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
So I want to come back to this because I completely agree with you. But you said a couple of things that triggered some things. First, that $10,000 that they took out of your payout for your fine.
Yep.
So you had won $19,500, but they took $10,000 out of your winnings.
From Santee, yep.
Where did that $10,000 go?
I don't know. It did not go in my bank account.
And it didn't get spread back to the other anglers since it came from winnings?
Good question. I don't know. And to be honest with you, because of the way my mind works, I don't know, and I never question it because it's theirs. I don't give a shit what they do with it.
Right.
They can go buy a box of rocks with it for all I care.
Even if you guys are paying that much in entry fees and they can just take it from you and not have to put it back where it's supposed to be?
Nowhere did I hear from any angler that they got a $250 bump.
Yeah.
Nowhere did I hear that. So,
Interesting.
and again, I own a business. I've owned my ultimate successful businesses.
Mhm.
I've owned a failed business too. It's called a nightclub. Don't ever get in the nightclub business.
You owned a nightclub?
Yeah, especially if you like to party as much as I did.
Oh, man.
That's a bad business. That's a money loser right there. Anyway, I don't like people to question how I spend my advertising dollars.
Right.
You know, people can question and everything, but I can tell them it's another business.
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew exactly what Major League Fishing would say if I asked him a question like that. It's none of your business. I learned that about them a long time ago, so I quit thinking that way.
To even go there.
I don't even go there. It's not something that I could demand. You open your books and show us all.
Yeah.
Some anglers ask that, and I'm like, you're ridiculous. You're pissing up a rope. You can ask that. They're not going to give it to you. It's their business.
Right.
Just like it's their business to kick my ass out of tour. It's their business to do
Right.
that.
So my second one, and then we'll get to that. You're comment about brands. The brands are more valuable than the platform. But my second one, so we know that Boyd said he's doing away with 30 anglers because it's better for the sport. It's going to grow it. It's going to be better for the anglers. They're going to make 7 figures. Some of them, half of them are going to make 7 figures. Okay, so we know his standpoint. Why do you think he's doing that? Is it a financial reason? Why? What's your theory on the motive behind dropping 30 anglers?
I've got a couple of them. I think the main one is to drive as many guys to the league below the Bass Pro Tour because that's more of an 80-20 payout. I believe. I'm not. Don't quote me on that.
No,
folks.
sure. It's just your opinion. Sure.
It's not 100% payout. The league makes money off those entry fees. The league pays money from those entry fees to the field and then keeps some of the entry fee monies, pays themselves. They don't do that on the Bass Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think they're going to shrink the Bass Pro Tour down. They're going to tell the general public that, that it's easier to track 50 guys. And these guys are going to be more superstars because the platform is diluted. There's too many jerseys. There's too many truck and boat wraps. So we're going to get 30 guys that are making a living, representing and making product with their names on it. We're going to get rid of those guys, send them back to the minor leagues to see if they can work their way back to the pro leagues. I don't get it.
I heard that they told y'all that the Bass Pro Tour was had never turned a profit, but the Tackle Warehouse Tour as of last year started turning a profit. Here, let me help James for a second.
How's that? Thank you. Thank you very much. Put it right in there. Right there. Right there. Say that again.
So I heard that they told you guys that the Bass Pro Tour had never turned a profit, but the Tackle Warehouse Tour had just started to turn a profit. Is that true?
I think I heard that same thing. Not 100% certain.
Yeah.
But all we do hear is how guys were good with money. We're doing fine with money. That I heard that 100 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why all the cutbacks? If we're hurting for money, tell us we're hurting for money. Tell us you got to trim things back a little bit. Tell us we got six events instead of 7. Don't tell us, we're gonna set the Bass Pro Tour down because of COVID. I've said this on other podcasts. How do you take and say you can come over and fish the Tackle Warehouse Tour during COVID, but we got to shut the Bass Pro Tour down? Why wouldn't you shut the Tackle Warehouse Tour down with 150 guys
and
like
take care of your boys?
The Tackle Warehouse Tour actually is 80-20. So they're actually making money themselves from the payouts and everything.
Correct.
But you guys, they don't make money off of.
That's correct.
So,
we cost them money.
Yeah.
So the business sense, and again, if that's the way business is, then freaking tell us. Tell us.
But
you want us to pull the rope in the same direction.
I was watching the old podcast that he's done, and he's always maintains that the views that you guys get on Bass Pro Tour are double what anything else in the industry is doing and all that. So if you're getting that many views and the platform's so good, then why is the other one profitable but you guys aren't?
I don't know why he says those things, but he says them because nobody can fact check that.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Nobody can fact check that.
I've asked people, like, where do you get your streaming numbers? Like, I've asked, like, companies, and they said, well, we just get them from them. Like, MLF gives us their streaming numbers, but we don't
Look how good looking I am.
Yeah.
Here's proof of it. Somebody wrote it here. James Watson sure is good looking. And you're looking at me and I'm missing 3 front teeth and I got a wart growing on my end of my nose. But somebody wrote right here how good looking I am. So you got to believe this.
No way to audit it.
No way. No way to police it.
In your personal opinion, I mean, they took away live coverage on day one of both Group A and Group B. I mean, the anglers, I'm sure, were up in arms over it. The fans were up in arms over it. In your personal opinion, why?
Okay.
Or what was the explanation?
The explanation? Great question. The explanation is because that they're preparing the audience for next year's 4-day event. They're preparing the audience for next year's, because we're shifting. This is the last year we're going to do 6 days. And it's just too much. It's just too much for people to follow. See how I'm acting?
Yeah.
People can't follow.
You're not doing your lips right, though.
I don't know how to do that. It's just too much. So, we're bleeding our way into next year and how it's going to be. And Chris, you're so wrong. We didn't lose 2 days of live coverage. Matter of fact, James, Chris, we got more live coverage than ever because we're going to do live coverage on the General Tire Team Series.
So they moved those 2 days to the General Tire
Team Series to make them live. Now, how many anglers is going to be on the General Tire Team Series, Boyd? 48. I said, which 48 out of the 80 guys? Well, the top 48 of the guys. I said, so the other guys, the 32 other people, don't get any live time. We're going to miss it on days 1 and 2 of each
and
event
the team series.
and the team series.
How the heck
But it's
did
getting-
Boyd make the team series?
Last year, all of us got a team. All of us.
But this year it was only 48.
This coming. No,
Okay.
it hadn't happened yet.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Which, by the way, I heard the number one angler is going to get the first pick, and the number two angler is going to get the second pick. And
In the
three.
draft? That's
the
not
draft.
how drafts work, right? I mean,
Guys, I'm telling you. No, I'm not a sports guy,
Right.
but that's not how drafts work.
right.
You don't take the number one angler and give him the first pick.
First pick, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just going to pick the number 2 angler.
Yeah. It's going to get complicated then, isn't it?
He's really padding that situation for his boy.
Oh, my gosh. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about certain people. You can't sling a dead cat on MLF social media page and without seeing two guys, okay? When's the last time you seen a post about, I don't know, crochet?
Right.
Boom, boom.
Jason Vance today.
Oh,
Yesterday
yeah.
you saw Jason Vance because he finished
'Cause he
second
caught
on
him,
day
right.
one. All right. Freddie. Yeah. I mean, you have to literally scroll through days and days and days of MLS. 519,000 followers on their Instagram.
I do get confused about how they have such good engagement and they're following so strong and everything's so great, but it just seems like y'all's brands are diminishing under that umbrella.
It has been for the last 3 years, and my paycheck has shown it. Don't tell me to catch more bass. I had a
Right.
good year last year. I finished 54th in the points. To my standards, that's a good year. I made like $54,000 in winnings. To my standard, that's a good year. You throw that in with the money I make from sponsors, 2 years ago, I'd have had a dynamic
Year.
financial year.
Absolutely.
But now sponsors are saying, man, if you fish the Bass Opens, we'll pay you more. Wait a second.
Wow.
I've had 2 sponsors this year
Tell you that.
before the announcement tell me that.
Before the cut
Before
announcement.
the 80-man cut. Tell me, if you'll go fish the Bass Opens, we'll pay you more. I'm like, you're telling me that I got to step off a $100 blackjack table to go to a $10 blackjack table that's trying to get to a $100 blackjack table? What?
Wow.
Where's the media value now?
Right.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is there is no media value for me to be a Bass Pro Tour angler. Why am I spending $60,000+ a year to go do it
Yeah.
when I can't leverage that platform for money from potential sponsors?
Have you talked with other anglers? Do they feel like their brands and opportunities with sponsors are diminishing as they stay on the Bass Pro Tour?
Yes, absolutely. There's some anglers, some very reputable anglers who have huge credentials and resumes compared to mine in the fishing world are saying, I'm just going to ride this ship until it completely sinks. I don't have anything else to do but to ride it all the way
Wow.
to the
What
bottom.
a spot.
But that's
You
the way
work
they're phrasing
decades.
it till the
Yes,
bottom.
to the bottom.
They're not saying
We're not getting off now. We're going to ride it till
Well, what else are they going to do? Like, what? I mean,
go back to the Bass Opens, go fish the MPFL. I mean, there's lots of options
Sure.
out there.
sure.
But why are you going to go spend $60,000?
Right. You've invested 20 plus years of your career to
career.
get to the top.
The top. Let's be at the top then.
And now all arrows are pointing to
This ain't the top.
amateur leagues.
That's right. This is not the top.
So it seems like some of those people who are saying it are people who are definitely in that cut. They're not one of the 30s people getting cut
Right.
that are saying I'm writing this to the bottom.
Yes.
What's your theory, like why they would even say that if, as Boyd says, everything's good?
Because it's not. It's not good. It's not good. You're going to see veteran anglers securely inside the top 50 next year move out of Major League Fishing. Mark my word.
I mean, you're
Promise.
seeing more and more every year. I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
last year,
we get a
Cliff
couple a
Paces.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody,
Pace,
Cliff
Cody.
Pace,
Tharp.
Tharp.
Who else went? There's a handful of them.
Yeah.
Biffle went to the MPFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where do you think the landing place? Okay, so that's like 3 or 4 anglers last year. Let's say that doubles, and there's like 8 anglers who walk out next year. What is the most expected landing place for those? I mean, what's
Where are they going?
I'm sure. Yeah,
between the MPFL and the Bass
MPFL
Opens.
is a great choice,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Absolutely. 5 fish
lucrative.
limit.
Yeah, gaining steam.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's got a very similar pay structure.
yeah.
They're not 100%, but
Right.
they got some good momentum behind them.
So either that or roll the dice with the opens.
With the Opens,
Yeah.
right?
And
again,
that ain't easy.
No, it ain't easy.
Yeah.
You're looking at what, 5 slots?
9.
9 slots out of 225?
Yeah, 100. Well, out of 150 because it's just EQ guys. 9 out of 150.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Now, you think I would ever fall into that top 9 category? No, never.
If they
For all
tough,
you
dude.
naysayers out there that say he would never qualify for the Bassmaster Elites through the EQs or the Bassmaster Opens, you are 100 freaking percent correct. Give yourself a fucking pat on the back.
how many
That's a fact, Jack.
how many guys on the BPT do you think would qualify through the EQs if they had to go through it?
Let's say 10 of them decide to fish the EQs
No, I
next
want to
year.
know.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Then I'd
It's-
say 3.
Yeah.
What about if all 80 went to the Opens? How many do you think? If all 80 went and they could fish as many years as they wanted, how many of those 80 do you think would end up making?
If there
the
was
league?
9 slots and 80 of our guys went over there to fish, I believe all 9 slots had a pretty good chance of getting filled by
The
our
MLF
guys.
By those guys.
I
Yeah.
truly do.
Even in this forward-facing sonar era.
Throw in 1 or 2 young hot guys.
Throw in
young
a 1
guys.
or 2
Yeah. Yeah.
forward-facing guys. Okay, let's say 7.
Yeah.
Now, no disrespect to the other guys. I'm not there's
Sure.
smaller guys trying to fish through
Sure.
the EQs. No disrespect to them. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you want your ass kicked day in and day out, go fish the Bassmaster Elites or go fish against the Bass Pro Tour guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Because day in and
Absolutely.
day out, those guys
Absolutely.
in those 2 platforms are the best of the best.
Mhm.
And then you'll get the Dakota Ibarra come out,
Yep.
and the young guys will come up. Every year there'll be there'll
Yeah.
be 2 or 3 of those guys come
Yeah.
up. That's good for the sport.
So
That's good.
let's go back to the brand thing you brought up about anglers' brands being more powerful, bigger, stronger than the platforms these days. I was talking to I'll say Cliff Crochet. We talk a lot these days, and we were talking about how it was y'all's brands who really built BPT.
Okay.
When that's how I feel.
Y'all were the actors, the
Yeah.
characters, and
Well, y'all had
something to invest into.
Y'all's fan bases.
Yeah.
Right.
There were 80 guys, and everyone had their own fan base. And y'all brought your fan base and said, "Hey, follow me. Here's my video. I'm leaving where I'm at. I'm going here. Come follow me. Bring your eyes with me."
There's truth to that.
And y'all, in my opinion, y'all were there for 3 years at least. Y'all built what is BPT.
You bet.
It's your fans that are,
Good point. I'm going to ask you this. If Bass Pro Tour would have stood up and brought 80 guys, let's just say 1 person from all 50 states and then 30 guys from Canada, when none of us had ever heard of them, maybe they heard about me here because I won a tournament or 2,
right.
or I was a president chapter of my bass club. Would the Bass Pro Tour have garnished any views whatsoever with those 80 guys versus the 80 guys you just spoke of?
I maybe a little, but not
any.
no. Well, let's look at no shade to MPFL whatsoever, but every year they're always kind of like, "Oh, this big name's coming," or that like there's a reason why they acknowledge that because it helps their league
Absolutely.
and brings more eyes and brings more value to it.
Credibility.
Yes. And I would say, yes, MLF had the cups, but I don't think that they brought those eyes to the BPT guys. I think that the anglers brought the eyes to the BPT.
Absolutely.
I can't argue that one bit. I can't. Now, I want to give credit where credit's due. because of the platform, because of Major League Fishing and the select shows that I was on,
Yeah, that helped you.
That
your brand.
helped.
Definitely.
that helped
Sure.
build my brand.
Sure.
Right.
But what did I have to do in order to get on that show?
20 grand.
20 grand.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
No,
we-
no. I had the invite. I couldn't afford it
We couldn't afford it back then.
at the time.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, couldn't afford
You
it.
know
at the
how
time.
many
It's
how many
expensive.
anglers said the same thing you did?
Probably.
A ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A ton of
It
them.
just wasn't an option, especially because the guys at the time were saying they don't really pay you back either.
No.
You're going to pay 20 grand and then you're not going to win anything.
If you won that event, you got 10 grand.
Yeah.
Oof.
If you want, you had to
Yes.
win though.
You had to
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what it was being pitched to us back then was, look, you're not going to win anything back, but this 20 grand, you'll get guaranteed TV time. So you're paying 20 grand to be on TV. That's the way you should look at it.
win. And that's the way I looked
Yeah.
at it.
Yep.
And I rolled those big old dice of mine
Caught him too,
and caught them.
and showed your personality.
Personality.
Yep.
And then my shit just took off like
Yep.
that.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah. And the cups. Yeah. They built your brand.
But I
Helped your
paid for
brand.
that.
Yeah.
I paid for that.
Right.
Now, there's certain anglers that didn't do them. You know what? Certain anglers said, hey, I can't afford that. I respect that. Certain anglers said, I can afford it, but I ain't doing that. You're going to pay me to
Right.
come do that. How many anglers said that?
I bet.
A
several.
lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And guess what? Those anglers are fishing the Bass Pro Tour right now.
now,
Right.
right?
All right. I know for a fact more than 5 anglers that said, you pay me. I ain't coming out to do that if you ain't going to pay me.
Right.
And I was like, shit, I'll take that chance. I'll roll those
Absolutely.
dice.
Right.
And I did.
And it worked out.
That's right. And it worked out. And that's how I got to where I'm at.
Yep.
Right.
I got to fish the FLW tour because in 2000 and when did I come on? 2010 or 11. The economy was shit. Gas was $4 a gallon. They couldn't field the 150-man field. The year before, I'd fished as a co-angler. I did well as a co-angler. I badgered Bill Taylor until I was blue in the face. Bill, I can't fish out of the back of a boat. I'm not cut out for this. I'd rather fail on my own and succeed on my own as to be determined whether I got somebody that doesn't know which end of the rod to pick up,
Yeah.
because that happened a lot.
Yeah.
And I said, what I got to do? And I won a big buddy tournament with my buddy Corey Uchler, Anglers in Action Championship. We split $25,000. I paid half my entry fees to the to the FLW tour the next year. Bill said, "Ha boy, we got enough room for you. We'll take you. Come on."
As long
Pay
as
your
you
entry
got
fees."
money.
I had money. Bought my way into the tour. Got my ass kicked. And then in 2013, I started catching them.
Learned a lot.
And
Yeah.
I learned a lot about being on the road, catching
Yep.
bass other places besides here and Lake Ozarks and Grand and places like that. And then, boom, I won a PAA.
Yep.
Then, boom, I won a Bass Open. And, boom, I won a FLW Invitational. Boom, I go to the Classic.
Yep.
All these things started. I won a TV show. I started getting, and then that's how my career got it. And now, fast forward to now, and you're like, well, you don't have a tour that you're fishing. You don't have a top level tourist fishing. I would talk to my sponsor and I said, guys, I respect you. What is this going to do to our relationship? Nothing. I said, all right. They
They're
said,
invested in you.
They said, what are you going to do next year? I said, I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do.
So whenever you got expelled from MLF or whatever they're calling it for 2 years, you didn't lose any financials, or you didn't lose any sponsors.
General Tire, because of their association, their big investment with Major League Fishing, and my contract with them stated that I had to fish at least 80% of the Bass Pro Tour, because that's what I had agreed upon.
Right.
And that was my platform. My contract clearly states I got fish 80%. If I fish less than 80%, they can renegotiate my contract or terminate my contract on that date. So after talking to Major League Fishing, they say, James, we're concerned with our relationship with Major League Fishing that, we're going to go ahead and state our contract with you. We're going to pay you for your percentage of your time of your contract, and we'll renegotiate next year with you to talk about next year.
Want to
Yeah.
play ball. Still want to play with you. Yeah.
We love you.
Yep.
So
we
they're
love you.
invested in James Watson's
Yes.
brand.
Yes.
And James Watson's brand.
Absolutely.
The contract said it was dependent on where you fish,
Yes.
but deep down, going forward, they care about James Watson.
They do very much, and I help their brand. But they have to. They had a. This is where I don't want to hurt other anglers. So Brett Myers, Mark Rose, and I did a General Tire commercial. We flew out to Frankfort, Kentucky, shot all day long.
Those are cool. I like the
They're
commercials.
great commercials.
I do. I like those.
And they did them commercials instead of using Ott and Andy and Skeet or Edwin, or they used Junior, Brett, Mark, and I this year, which is great for us and our own personal brand. And so those commercials, I think, are still running. But the Factor Fish stories that I'd shot at Toledo Bend and at Santee, those they will stop running because I think the MLF doesn't want to give me any lens at all.
They don't want to give you.
Does your name still live on their website?
Not on the Bass Pro Tour, but if you went to Major League Fishing's page, and I just looked last night to see if my profile was still up there, and it is. It's still.
But they're not gonna run something because it has your face. But isn't it to support their sponsor? Maybe we should talk about that.
That's exactly what I thought.
Like,
I'm like, who's paying
who
the freaking bills?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Who's paying who here?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know General Tire. I know my boss over at General Tire. He's not the type of guy. He's not going to strong arm anybody.
Right.
He's going to say what he has.
Guy. Yeah.
Fair guy. He's going to say what he says.
Pay attention.
Even to me, he told me, he says, you need to calm down. I got too big of an investment with Major League Fishing. I said, all right. I called him and said, I can't take this much more.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now that I can't be much calmer than this. I said, I'm being roughshotted around here.
Yeah.
I'm being pushed around. I'm being told to be quiet. All these things in order to do what? I just need this platform to do one thing this year. And then after that, I might not qualify. I might retire. Who knows? Timmy Horton announced he retired, and then boom, all of a sudden he was in the top 64 or higher in the points.
Right.
And he decided to fish another year. Well, I've already announced that this is probably going to be my last year anyway. It might not have been my last year. For crying out loud, I could change my mind.
Yeah.
You know? But the fact of the matter is, Keith Poche, Dave Dudley, Stephanie Hemphill, and myself, and JT Kinney all had a contract with a production company to do a reality TV deal for Apple or Netflix or whoever they were going.
Whoever they sold it to.
That's right. And it was all about your professional bass fishing, about a female angler. You know what that's all about because you're a female angler. Being in the sport, all right?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
And then male anglers, and then all of a sudden, we sign these contracts, and a few weeks later, here come the 80-man cut, or the 80 to 50. I called Travis at the production company. I said, "Are you aware of all this?" He goes, "No." And I said,
"Was the production company in with MLF?"
No. They were in with us to follow us around.
Right.
But you know too that there's some hoops to be in order for them to film your logo, or they got to have permission from them to do this and licensing to do that. And we're going to start shooting around the 1st of March, and all these things are happening. So I, being me,
March this year?
Yeah. Me being me, I was like, shit, I got to pay this fine so I can fish this league, at least this year.
So that you could do this show.
Which paid me on that contract, not a guaranteed pay.
Right.
What it is in this business, you guys know this as well as I do. I'm betting on the come.
Yeah.
I'm betting on
they sell it and it takes off.
It takes off, and what I do to my brand, now I'm going to make a shit pot of money.
Yeah.
And that's what I was banking on. So I had to stay on this platform to do it. Well, guess what?
Ugh.
MLF said, no, you can't do this. We don't want the general public to know how corrupt or how much turmoil and stuff that's going on. We got this image that we want the general public to think about us, and that we all, hold hands and sing Kumbaya before takeoff, and all these great things. And we can't have the general public to think that our league,
basically, they're not in control of what gets produced.
That's right.
And so they can't curate the message.
That's right.
Like they're used to curating you guys and telling you guys to shut up.
There you go.
Yeah. So they can't.
So
they can't control what the editors, how it gets edited.
Right. So there went my possible income for next year.
Yeah.
Flushed down the toilet.
I heard there was like a Netflix series that was filmed last year too with some of the anglers that got kiboshed or something.
Netflix? Really?
I have not heard that.
Well, no comment, Lynn.
Okay.
I won't go there.
I saw the promo for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good.
Fire, huh?
It was good. And have you guys seen Full Swing?
Yeah. We watch we watch it.
How to live in the PGA on the second season.
It's great.
How golfers say fuck.
Oh yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
They sling their shit out into the
personal
woods.
problems, family problems, all that stuff out there.
They were going to
go to psychologists.
That's right. This was going to say this. Right, wrong, or indifferent is going to show the world. And what would that have done to MLF's brand?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So another poor, in my opinion, CEO decision.
I feel like both leagues, which Chase is young, but and he's getting better. I feel like you don't really hear us all or you guys getting fined for talking out on social media. But I think before. But anyway, what I'm saying is that MLF is ran by a bunch of the old dudes, right? Bunch of like your Gary Kleins, your Boyd Duckett's, just the people like before social media became a thing, and they probably don't watch Full Swing, and all the people who want to keep fishing buttoned up, family, like perfect, blah blah blah, but then they
slacks.
Yeah, but then they wonder why things aren't growing.
Yeah.
But you're going to make 7 figures too, right? But yet they don't let any outsiders in to really know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even know what's going on, and you got fined and you can't even figure out what's going on.
No.
That whole 7-figure thing, the money just is not there.
Is that not the most absurd thing?
It's absolutely impossible. Now, if there were some really dynamic changes amongst the leagues, stepping out, doing things like Full Swing, maybe there's a chance. But the current path we're on.
No, I cannot name, I'm not being an a-hole here, but I cannot name 25 anglers on the Bass Pro Tour that are cool enough as a brand to pay that sort of money to.
Bass side either. The way things are right now.
I'm not saying the way things are. I'm saying personality-wise, there are not 25 people I can point out that have brands.
Well, you don't know their personal lives. That's the whole point, is you got to get into the personal.
But Boyd's not going to get into their personal lives. Take that out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's not 25 anglers that I can point out that are worthy, even if they had some better engagement, of 7 figures.
What about professional bass fishing as a whole? Not just not just
I don't know.
Bass Pro side.
Can you think in your minds right now on the elites and I'm talking sponsor money. I'm not talking about winnings.
No.
Sponsor money. Can you name 20 guys that make over $150,000 a year in sponsor money?
20, I cannot name. I can't name 20.
Maybe.
I'd be pushing 20.
Yeah.
I think
I really would. I really would be pushing 20.
I don't know. I know that there's been a lot of guys on y'all side that have taken some substantial hits that I know about, whether they'll admit it or not.
Yep.
I don't know. I think so. I think I could still name 20. I think so.
I think I can name 20.
150.
Skeet's a well-paid angler. Edwin's a well-paid angler.
Yeah.
Some of those guys that have lesser on their jerseys are your more well-paid anglers.
Yeah, the less logos.
Sure. Yeah.
With bigger corporate sponsors and that have been around for a while. Yeah. Some of the guys who jump around sponsors, it's like.
But I can't name more than 5 that make over 400.
Oof. Yeah. No. Yeah. I would say,
Oof.
like, even if, let's say, 150, then you take your $50,000 in entry fees out, so you're at 100, and then you take at least 50 grand in expenses out, so you're at
Yeah,
50.
I'm just
Yeah.
with you on that. I'm
Yeah.
just talking gross
Yeah.
gross money.
Yeah,
Right.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not net.
Yeah.
But what would it
It's not-
take? And what would it take for us to get to that spot? I mean, give
We
me a
were already-
timeline.
we
We're
were already
there.
there. It's gone.
Yeah.
What do it take to get it back? What you're asking?
I
don't know.
Yeah. Like
I don't know, Chris.
time, like both time and what it would take in changes. Because I feel like when in 2019 when they announced the whole thing, yes, there was absolutely potential there. Again, dynamic changes. The structure was different. Formats were different. Ooh, this is new and exciting.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely potential there, but
Yep.
what happened?
I would argue with you on one thing, Watson. I know you say, okay, well, obviously cutting down to 50, I see your point there. But I would say there only needs to be one league.
I can't argue that.
I would say that that if we're really going to get people, if what he's saying, Boyd, about
Like you're talking about like one governing factor.
yeah, there's got to
East
be
versus
like
West, maybe, or
just
all just one.
one league, different tiers, however you want to do it, NFC, whatever.
Yeah.
But one tier so that sponsors know that these are the only anglers that are professionals.
I see. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
It'll never happen, but yeah, absolutely.
But with what Boyd's doing and saying, oh, the sponsorships will consolidate over here, I think you only have to have one league to even dream that.
Your league doesn't exist in Boyd's mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
But he talks about Bassmaster and how happy he is about them and how blah 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 and all his podcasts.
Can bid on a item at the Bass Fishing Hall.
Oh, yeah. I heard a completely different
out of good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
I was told by numerous people that were there that it was the most awkward thing to experience.
Heard the same thing. It's like,
what was it? A bidding war?
Yeah, it was a bidding war between Chase and Boyd over the. I heard the art was not that,
but
it's a good cause. Good cause. But I heard like everyone in the room was like, "This is awkward."
Yeah,
like super awkward. This doesn't feel fun.
Yeah, like you're uncomfortable with it.
Yes,
absolutely. I heard the same thing. So I didn't make it. Yeah, I usually go if I'm home. I'll go because it's just down the road here.
Right.
So, but no, it's.
Okay, so Boyd on all those podcasts he's done has just talked so favorably about bass and how he's never thrown any darts at bass and never wanted it to be devices. So I want to ask you, now that you can talk, back in the first few years, did Boyd want you guys to be pro bass?
No.
Did he articulate like
no, we don't want you guys to go work the classic. It only brings your fans to their door and makes them look good or strong or whatever. He was hell bent.
And he was saying this stuff.
Yeah, hell bent on day one. This is our league, and to be successful, we need to stay together.
And not support anything
Don't support anything they're doing. Don't even look at the calendar when the Bassmasters Classic is going on and think in your mind, I should be there working for Mercury.
Did he advise you what to tell your sponsors when your sponsors asked you?
No, there was no advice. It was just we are building this league, and in order for this league to be super successful,
you gotta be all in.
You got to be all in on this league. And if you go over there, they wanted Mercury to give all the money to BPT
or MLF.
Yeah. They wanted Nitro money all here.
So
they didn't want 75% of it. They wanted 100% of it. And Boyd's deal was to sink Bassmaster. Period.
Yeah.
That's why all of the defection happened was to sink Bassmaster.
Why do you think he's going on podcasts? Because we all know what he was saying back then. Why do you think he's going on his podcast now and saying he never wanted any ill will and was never against bass and always wanted to work together? And
look, for the 10 people that support everything that Boyd's doing, I apologize right now. It's all a bunch of shit. It's just, I don't know why he says what he says.
Yeah.
I don't know why he has to go out there and defend what he's doing with his own podcast. I don't see why he has his wife get on there and talk about confidential information on my social media page.
Mhm.
That's not fair. That ain't.
And then I'm not allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
And if you do, you know what? We could suspend you. When you find a man $10,000 for his first offense in over 9 years, what do you
Yeah.
think his second fine's going to be?
Well, you didn't get a second.
20,000?
You didn't get a second fine. You got kicked off.
I did. And I didn't crash into a boat at the Harris Chain Lakes and almost kill 4 people.
Yeah.
But I did get a 2-year suspension, and those guys got a 1-year
Yeah.
end of the year suspension.
Yeah.
They knew how much I loved to fish the Toyotas. 3-day event.
That away from me too.
Took that away. I took it away from myself over my actions. It's my fault. All right. They've got a tournament director, Alan Gray, that will go on there and make any comments that he wants about the league and what the league's doing and how awesome and how he all the cream will rise to the top with this 50-man field, and this is what needs to be done. It's a tournament director. All right.
Yeah.
He'll go in there and talk about the cream will rise to the top. This is what the sport needs, kind of the mouthpiece of Boyd. And then turn around on another comment with a sinking ship of MLF and go on there and says, I can't believe all you people, you don't understand that I could lose my job. And the families at Major League Fishing that work hard to put on the BFLs and the Toyotas, if that goes away too, and these people lose their jobs and you have these tournaments. I'm like, Alan, this is the same guy that just said bye to 35 full-time pros careers that the cream will rise to the top.
Yeah.
And this will make our sport better. You just fired me and my family.
Wow.
And my 34 other comrades. All right. Oh, just fish better and you'll make it into the top 50, James. No, I'd make it into the top 50 had it been that way from the beginning.
McGiddy, yeah.
All right. Don't move the goalpost every 20 minutes on me. Don't change my format on me every 20 minutes. Don't buy a radio ad and run it for 3 days and think that you're going to sell whatever you're trying to sell on the radio. Don't do it. You got to be consistent so that you're paying people that are paying you the money know how consistent you are and what they're buying and what to expect next year. We can sit here and nitpick what the Major League Fishing done wrong, what they did right. They did right because they come in with a new format that was exciting and got not only you, but you and your spouse now likes to watch the characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now she's going to say, you go Bass Pro, buy whatever the hell you want because I
Right.
love this shit.
Right.
All right? That we did draw that new people in. But what we didn't do is we didn't capitalize and be consistent. We should have, from the very beginning, in my opinion, just said, this particular tournaments, our weights and our creel could vary
Sure.
from tournament to tournament, depending on where we go. It could vary. If you just said that,
Yeah.
then we could have gone to Toledo Bend in the spring and said, we got a 3-pound minimum. And then next week we could have been at Table Rock with a 1.5-pound minimum.
It was always so drastic.
Yeah.
Instead of like
Yeah.
leaving.
Just if you could have left it broad open and from the beginning and everybody would have known that to begin with, and next year you would have said it again, they'd been, oh, yeah, I remember that. And then the next year you said it again. Oh, yeah, that. By the third year, there would have been no question about what the hell's going on. Where are they at this week? Oh, they're down on Okeechobee. Oh, I bet that's a 4-pound average. Oh, I bet them some bitches catching giants down there. Oh, where are they at? Oh, they're over there on, what's a Sevierville, Tennessee, Douglas Lake. Oh, I bet they got a 1.5-pound average.
Yeah.
Now your fans would start predicting.
Well, they're a cut. They know it's coming.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise.
Yeah.
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 So we've went through and we've talked in the other podcasts, and you've been on other, on Duncan's. We've talked about the issues and all that. I think it's fair to say that everyone knows that there are legitimate things going on over there. It's not what Boyd puts it out to be. But how does it, in your opinion, how can the ship over there get righted? can it get righted? Is it too late? And if it's not too late, what needs to happen?
Leadership needs to change.
All the leadership, like Wilbur and Boyd,
I don't know.
Kathy, all
leadership in general. You got to start somewhere with one.
Yeah.
Think about the military.
Exactly. If you had a failed mission after failed mission, command got relieved.
Yeah.
You didn't keep You didn't keep the same failure
head of the snake, right
in there. You killed it.
Yeah.
You got rid of it. You burnt somebody else up in here and knew to run it. All right. Where does Kroenke's investment? Why did we lose $1 million in our payout? I don't know. Stan Kroenke not kick that money in there for the league? I don't know.
Dude, I don't
know.
I was told Wilbur in some meetings with companies admitted that BPT since y'all's inception had lost $30 million.
I had heard the same thing. How do you recover from that? What, are you going to have a $10 million profit this year and apply it towards a $30 million debt and still be what, $20 million in the hole? Hard to come out of. I don't know if there's any fact to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd heard the same thing, but what are we going to do about it as anglers? Let's sit here. I'm going to be the crybaby. I'm going to be the guy that jumps on a grenade. Nobody asked you to jump on any grenade. Nobody asked me to jump. You're right. Nobody asked me.
You're wired that way.
I'm just wired that way.
You're not going to sit back and just keep letting crap pile up and happen.
I'm not going to keep paying a bill that I'm not getting anything in return for.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come and buy those brand new fancy britches that are supposed to attract all the hot women, and then I find out they're not attracting anything. I'm not going to buy another pair of them. You just don't keep doing the same stupid shit over and over again.
Yeah, insanity.
What kind of again? So you're not afraid to speak out and say, "Hey, look, I don't agree with this, or we should do it this other way," or as you speak out and get penalized for these certain things. What kind of response, do you get from all your homies, all the anglers that your peers, right? What kind of response do you have? Is it a supportive response?
9 out of 10.
Privately and publicly.
Privately, 9 out of 10.
Yep.
Publicly, none of them.
Zero.
They've been squashed. $10,000 fine is enough to scare anybody out of their boots. And then a
private phone call or text is like, dude, you're right on. We feel the same way.
We support you, dude. I'm sorry, I can't say anything. I get that. 9 out of 10. And then I'll have one out of 10, two people actually that said, man, what you're doing's not good. And one of them was a wife of an angler who rolled his eyes when his wife was telling me this, this negativity ain't helping none of us. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Tell you what, it ain't doing for me.
Right.
It ain't getting me any Toyotas, BFLs or Bass Pro Tour. I said, but that's all right. My platform's been in a shitter for a couple of years, and here's how I can tell you that. I used to make this amount of money.
Yeah.
Now I make this amount of money.
Yeah.
You got to catch them better. I said, no, I don't. I need my platform. Why can I not get on a Major League Fishing social media page unless I catch the biggest bass of the day in this particular tournament, or I'm in the top 5 of this event, and I might get a mention over here,
or you run blue and white rods,
or I run the right product from the conflict of interest.
Yeah,
correct. All right. And why is it that a couple of anglers of the best fishermen in the world, you can't take that away from these couple of anglers being the best of the best of the best? Why is it that they will pop up every other fucking post?
Yeah.
And you got guys over here that could use a little love from the organization so that maybe some followers will come over and drift over to them, that they could showcase their crackers that they sponsor, or their motor that they sponsor, or their boat brand.
Well, that's what they sold
and
y'all initially.
And you all pay the exact same entry fee.
Yes.
And you got sold.
Winners deserve the lion's share of the credit. I get that part. But we were not, just like you were saying, we were all sold that we would receive some, and we don't.
Yeah.
And we haven't for years.
Yeah.
And the amount of favoritism that's given in this league for spotlighting does one thing, and that puts more money into Boyd's pocket as the CEO of Major League Fishing and as a sponsor
Yeah.
of certain anglers.
Yeah.
That's where the conflict of interest.
That's conflict of interest that I speak
absolutely.
of. And people, I saw a comment the other day. Somebody says, "You all think that Boyd, the bass, think no Boyd's coming out there and that he's going to do
Missed the
no,
point.
you missed the
Yeah.
point here.
Yeah.
You don't compete against the guy that makes the rules up as he goes. It's not fair to anybody." And I've been jumping up and down. I thought it was cool that Gary and Boyd sampled their product.
Right. Got a feel for it.
Yeah, and just before I got kicked off the tour, Boyd and I had a conversation, and mostly me talking and listening when he had to have something to say. I asked him a question, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase this. He said, "Don't you see the benefit of it from me being in your tournament and fishing against you guys and being out there with you?" More like the I'm in the trenches with you kind of talk.
Yeah.
I said, "Absolutely not. I see zero benefit of you being there." I said, "You just fired 30 of us, 35 of us." I said, "The benefit of the CEO is for you to go out there and so that I can keep my job."
Yeah. Play a CEO role. Yeah.
Yeah, play a CE role, not a bass. Don't take a 7-week sabbatical if I'm getting fired. Why don't you, if my real estate business was failing, I would go up there and help my office survive. All right.
Be a
Not
leader.
only just for myself
Yeah.
and my company,
Yeah.
but for the people who are also invested that work there.
Yeah.
I want to come back to the conflict of interest, but you triggered something earlier, and I have the worst memory. So everyone gets mad when I cut people off, but if I don't, like, I forget. But when he asked about people supporting you behind the scenes versus like publicly, and you said no one publicly, but 9 out of 10 privately. Have any active BPT anglers bought FBD hats? Do they like to fish boat docks?
The amount of fishing boat docks apparel sold to BPT anglers and to sponsors is unbelievable.
That's it.
Unbelievable.
That's nuts.
League sponsors, anglers,
League spots.
league sponsors.
And
big
FFS
time
haters,
league
man. They just
sponsors.
want to go fish boat docks.
They just
man.
want to fish
Yeah.
boat docks.
I understand.
I
I
want to.
got a new FFS coming.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah, new acronyms in town. Oh my gosh,
It's gonna be great,
because that's what we need, more acronyms.
dude. See, we do need more acronyms. We had a lot of them in the Army.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
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 We lived on them.
The conflict of interest thing, I want to explain to our viewers who might not be up to date on the situation with what we're talking about. A lot of times we have a lot of people who watch that don't stay in tune with the leagues.
Mhm.
And so they're always like, could y'all just explain things? So this guy Boyd is the president CEO of Major League Fishing. He also fishes as a tournament
He's a participant. He's an angler, just
as
like
an angler.
I was.
So he's a president and CEO, an angler. He owns a chunk of the league, equity wise. He also owns a rod company that
a tackle company.
A rod and tackle company that sponsors anglers
Yeah.
who fish this league.
Yes.
That he's the president and CEO of. Those rods are the main angler who represents his
Made
rods.
in China rods.
And yeah, they're junk rods. I'm not, people are gonna be like, "Oh, you had junk rods too." Anyway, the rods, the main guy who pushes them, who he sponsors, main sponsors Academy, who they also sell those rods to. So if this angler who pushes those rods were to do anything wrong,
Hurts the sales.
it affects the sales. It could be bad with Academy who buys his rods.
Or the more credit you give to anglers that sponsor,
or
and the more posts that they
get on social media,
carrying the product,
right?
Even the subliminal messaging of all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was able to slide some fishing boat docks apparel in on.
I can't right now. Oh my god. Um. Oh my gosh.
Before the podcast, I was thinking I need some help. Can you guys both just
Let me
take that and just pull that
in
and
this
Trait
direction?
in that way?
That direction.
Yeah,
Pull
Trait
the
needs
rope.
the help too. Yeah.
Pull the rope.
I
in the
have to
same
help?
direction.
Yep.
Pull the rope.
I'm losing
you
it. I
dropped it.
losing control here.
Dang it.
Yep.
Why don't you just
Sorry.
wrap that around my neck?
Where did this thing come from, dude? Why am I wearing this?
I've had that for a long time.
Did you really?
Yeah. Actually, no. Actually, that was sent to me recently. And it's autographed too. Good luck. Fishing boat docks, Boyd.
Hey.
I love it.
This just went sideways quick.
It did.
So the whole conflict of interest thing, it's just like it's crazy to me.
It is.
How is it even? It's like almost imagine in the NBA if the commissioner sponsored a player, like sponsored LeBron James, and also like sold, I don't know,
Those jerseys.
sold something to I don't know,
Yeah.
something to Nike or I don't know. Like to me, that would
Capitalism at
end-
its finest.
well, it would end up in court.
Well, I'm just saying that there's a conflict there. Now, I screwed up a long time ago. You know how I screwed up? I didn't screw up by getting a sponsorship deal or pitching and trying to get a sponsorship deal with Boyd before the Bass Pro Tour.
Within the
yeah,
under the umbrella.
Yeah.
Sure.
and got in there with him so that I had this protection
Yeah.
that you would get.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't get fines.
I probably wouldn't get fines, and if I
Good
did,
point.
they wouldn't be disclosed.
It's a good point.
Nor would I be upset at him because he's paying me.
Right.
All right.
You'll get it back. It'll
So there's no
work out.
sense of getting mad at me because Boyd's paying me X amount of dollars or whatever that is.
yeah.
All right. So you can't do it. You can't have it all. You just can't. It's bad business. And it reflects poorly, and it starts bad rumors, and it starts all this proverbial snowball,
Yeah.
and you can't stop it at this point.
Yeah. It
And
doesn't protect any of the anglers.
No.
Whether it's the person who he sponsors.
No.
Or the other anglers.
No.
You know, like those rumors make sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And look at the bottom of the points, year after year, Kelly Jordan, Boyd himself. Somehow there's enough people to always relieve themselves and go away so that they move up another spot and they maintain their Bass Pro or their Bass Pro, I don't know,
Tour card, whatever.
tour card, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get to come back even
Yeah.
though their points.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
straight ridiculous. You got Hall of Famers like Tommy Biffle that missed out on his points. Future Hall of Famers like Mike McClellan that had, 3 or 4 bad years and failed to requalify.
Do you think he would have, if he would have been running Ducket rods, do you think Mike would still be fishing on tour?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
He didn't catch them very well.
Yeah.
It would have been hard to avoid that
Yeah.
that deal.
Yeah.
Shaw Grisby out. Paul Elias out. Jason Lambert out.
It's
All these guys out because of one thing: the standards that were set from the beginning, that they would rotate 10 guys from the tour below us into the Bass Pro Tour, and Mike would admit to you that he failed at his job, and he hated to see it happen. But by God, the very next year, what happens? Some of this stuff happens, and all of a sudden, Mike McClellan would have been safe.
Yeah.
If he could have just made it one more year.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he invited back? Oh, I know why. Because we already hit send that said that we're going to invite X amount of people from this tour. Sorry, Mike, go requalify. Well, he did requalify. He fished the invitation, the Tackle Warehouse Tour, finished in the top 10 of the Angler of the Year, come back to the Bass Pro Tour, but I think he come back as a rookie. So he had to start.
He didn't get his points.
I don't know how it all happened, but he requalified one year through the Tackle Warehouse Tour to the Bass Pro Tour again.
Mm-hmm.
Said it's a stellar season fishing a 5-fish format, and he'd be the first to tell you the Fly Fish Format's his gig. His
Yeah.
catch, weigh, and release, all you can catch was not his gig, and it hurt him. But again, I don't have it all figured out, but I can definitely tell you who has nothing figured out, and that's Major League Fishing.
Mainly Boyd, though.
It's.
Do you think if Boyd got removed and they brought someone else in?
Yeah, you
there'd be
mentioned
a
that
chance?
earlier. I think that's imperative that there be a structural change inside MLF, just like any other corporation or a business is. You can't keep going down the same road thinking different results are going to happen.
Is there not a board that can?
I don't know. I know if I had an investment of any size with them as a shareholder, I would be jumping up and down on that table demanding something be done because you are losing all my freaking money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are people so hesitant to do that? I'm not hesitant to do it because I lost my job. I got fired for speaking up because the rules say you can't say something bad about the CEO. There's rules. First Amendment doesn't apply. I know all that. But somewhere along the line, you got to stand up and say, this is ridiculous. There's a bunch of people getting fucked, and we need to stop this madness.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
People like Virtus Rods pay me to run their product. They expect me to have a platform and a brand that can be represented out there. And then all of a sudden, hey, I do they not like you? They used to. Well, why do they like these guys so much? Well, because you're sponsoring me. You're not sponsoring them. I don't even know how to explain it. I get so sideways about all this that it's overwhelming at times.
Yeah, as we kind of start to wind down here and just hearing a lot of these facts coming from you, you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot. And hearing about, some of these veterans again who have invested decades of their career and hundreds and thousands of dollars into the sport to live out a dream. I really hope things turn around because it's from what I hear, from what I've seen, I look at comments, I talk to a lot of you anglers. I mean, the organization owes it to the anglers and more importantly to the sponsors who are equally invested, if not more, to get this thing back on track. And again, nothing's perfect. I mean, no. Either, where I'm at, there can be some changes with every sport. There could always be better, but for everyone's sake, everyone involved, I mean, I really hope things get a lot better.
You
I
just
really
triggered something. Something I wanted to ask you. If there was a company standing here with money and they said, James, MLF's asking us to sponsor them. We do have a budget open. Should we? What do you tell that company?
I'd say first I'd tell them, if you want to spend some money, spend it with me.
Yeah.
Tell me what you want me to do and I'll go do it.
Yeah.
All right. And here's the deliverables that you're asking me to do. Here's what you're willing to pay me for it. And oh, by the way, I got 9 other buddies that would probably do the same thing for you. And that'll be 10% less than you would pay any league.
And get a better ROI.
You get a better return on your money by hiring 10 guys for half the cost
Than paying the league. I agree. I think the same thing about Bassmaster a lot.
I mean, to me, that's the truth.
I feel like the anglers are a little more hungry. They're willing to do more for less.
Yeah.
And I think that they're catching up,
I had a writers conference right here a few years back for a sunglass company that I was sponsored by, who did me a solid. They paid my entry fees at Toyotas, give me a lot of product and give me some cash. And it was a really good deal. And part of my negotiation with them that year was, we can sleep X amount of guys here. You want to do your writers conference here.
Yeah.
And all I need from you is when this is said and done, and we can pick the writers up over here at the dock, all I need from you when it's all said and done is pay me $400 to clean my house when we're done. I saved them $12,000 by having a writers conference right here. All right. We were all under the same roof. We had a great
morning
catering,
meetings, all that stuff.
Everything was right here, and great camaraderie. And that was something that I brought to the table. It saved him $12,000. And that's the kind of stuff that I personally would pitch to these companies to say, whether you use it or not, it's up to you.
Right.
But here's what I got.
You get a lot done.
These are the resources I have and I can provide you. And that's what I always tell anglers. I said, give sponsors something valuable that a deliverable that they can use. If they choose not to use it, be concerned, because they will forget. They'll forget about you if they don't use what you agreed to deliver. Yeah. I said, so you always got to jump up and down and say, I'm over here. Hey, you haven't used your free week at my house, or hey, you haven't used the VIP trip that I've given you. Oh man, we forgot about you. If they forget about you, they won't re-sign you the next year.
Yeah.
I think that the league forgets about their sponsors and who pays the bills.
I agree.
I truly do.
I agree.
Hey, I think they take it for granted. Sure. I think they come back.
Especially endemic sponsors.
Yeah. Hey,
instead of taking care of the current, they're always looking for the next bite.
MLF went to Ranger and said, hey, we know you've been paying this to be part of FLW, blah, blah, blah. That's fine and dandy, but we're not doing that no more. We're going to double it. You want to be a part of this, you're going to come in and pay us.
Yeah.
And they said, F you.
Yeah.
There was 2 anglers, new sponsorship of Major League Fishing, this Redcon.
Oh, yeah.
Redcon or Recon.
That energy drink. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Who's
company.
in it? Who's part owners of that? I just heard about that brand.
I'm not sure.
From something else. NASCAR or something, maybe. I'm
not sure. See a lot of bodybuilders on their page and stuff. They look a lot like me. Faces are different. So, but I had two angler buddies that were courting this company pretty hard. Been introduced from MLF, introduced these anglers to Redcon, and the 2 anglers, put their proposal together, threw it out there, and weeks have went by. They hadn't heard anything. It just crickets, ghost. We've all been ghosted.
Oh yeah.
You got something. He's like, boy, I'm going to get me a good one here, and I'm going to build a relationship, and this will be 5 years long. I don't know.
All of a sudden, dark.
Yeah. All of a sudden, crickets. You hadn't heard anything from them. At the meeting the other day, Redcon makes this big announcement, a multi-year deal or whatever with Major League Fishing, and the 2 anglers that were courting the company had been introduced from MLF to Redcon, sitting in the crowd like, we thought these guys were dead.
Oof.
We thought this company was gone. And now MLF's out there saying, hey guys, tag Redcon any chance you get, tag Redcon in your, energy drink. Here's your 1 can of energy drink. Take a picture of it. Make sure you tag that. And I said to that one of the particular anglers, I said, when's the last time Major League Fishing tagged you? When's the last time Major League Fishing's 519,000 followers were said, hey, go give Fred a follow? Or, hey, go give Jiminy Bop a follow. Hey, go give Ted a follow.
Right.
It's, hey, you guys go out here and do this for us. You do this
you
for
build
us.
our league.
It can't be like that, man.
You do this for us.
It doesn't feel very mutual.
It can't be like that.
Especially when the anglers are fighting over the same sponsors as the league is. It's like almost like you're pitted against each other.
Yeah, it can't be like, and we joke around pulling the rope in the right direction, in one direction. We joke around with that and everything, but it really is it has to be a partnership.
Yep.
It has to be for anything to work in this sport.
It's got to be mutually beneficial.
Yeah,
but it just seems like it's just.
And you understand that concept wholeheartedly, and that's why you stand up when it's not that way.
Yeah.
And that's how it's warranted. That's how it should be.
I want what I paid for.
Yeah.
I want what was promised to me.
Yep.
And I want you to quit making all these changes.
Yep.
And please, for crying out loud, quit listening to 2 or 3 anglers.
Yeah.
Quit. just because you are the best fisherman out there, or there's a few fishermen or the best fishermen out there, doesn't make them the best business people in the world. Quit listening.
Yep.
You had an anglers association so that everybody had a voice.
Yeah.
But only 3 or 4 guys have the voice. The rest of us are just shit. We don't count. You haven't caught enough bass to make any sense to us. So we don't. It's not. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
All right. When this 80 to 50 man cut was made, there was a big article about how they did this and that, and how Boyd went on to say that this is good because there's too many jerseys. There's too many truck and boat wraps. And there's too many people vying for that truck or that boat deal and that motor deal and this and that and wearing jerseys. And I'm thinking, then why in the Sam hell do you have the invitationals?
Yeah.
Why do you have them? Because that guy that's fishing the invitationals is asking his sponsor for $500 or $5,000 to pay this entry fee. I'm asking for $700 more.
Yeah.
If this guy didn't exist, I probably would get mine. But there's 150 guys down here asking for $5,000, and there's 80 of us asking for $5,700. Do the math.
Yeah.
All right, get rid of these guys.
Yeah.
Boyd's saying we're going to get rid of 30 of these guys, and we want them to come over here and spend their money and this and that. That's what's going on. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me it's too diluted, and you're not going to get rid of these guys down here? Take Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce out of the game, throw the helmet up in the stand to best looking guy you think might be able to throw the ball and catch the ball. Throw the helmets up to them on the fourth quarter. Let them come in the game and play. We'll see how many fans cheer you on for that.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Wow.
The fishing world's been wrong.
Yeah.
And the bill of goods that's been sold to the anglers coming through the ranks, good luck. Good luck.
Getting tougher and tougher every day.
Yes. And tell you what, if this can happen to me, it will happen to you.
Yeah.
It will happen to you. The minute the league thinks they got you, again, I've said this a million times, the leagues are the dealers and we're the users.
Yeah.
And the users got to have their fix. In order to get my fix, I got to fish this BFL. And I'm going to the All-American. Or I'm now going to Toyota. Now I'm going to the Toyota Championship.
Stronger
now I'm
and stronger drug, yeah.
I'm going to keep dealing. And all the time, I've always wanted to be where Chris is at. I always wanted to be where Kevin is at. And once I get there, what do I have to do to get there? We don't care what you have to destroy, rape, or pillage to get there, James, just as long as you try to get there.
Yeah.
And you buy my
Spend your money.
buy my $120,000 boat rig.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure you get all the tackle you can possibly get. All the things that you and I promote people to buy, saying, look, run our boats, run our motors. This is what we do. Here's how I beat it up. Here's how bulletproof it is, this and that. We're salespeople. We're selling product.
Yeah, it's our job.
Yep. And we get paid less commission now than ever before to do it. And the young kids coming up through the ranks, they ain't charging very much.
Mm.
So good luck.
Wow.
I hate to be sour about everything.
No, I mean, hey,
I
that's
want to go fish.
No, I know. I mean, that's why we're here hanging out. I mean, we want to get this stuff off your chest. We want the people to be informed of what's going on with James. And you guys make the decision. I mean, is it fair? Is it not? You tell us. And it's a little hard. A lot of the viewers don't really understand just how professional fishing works. And that's one of our goals with this show, is just to kind of show really what it's like, the battles that have to be won just to stay here. So before I ask you one last question, how do we get those hats, Fishing Boat Docks hats? Shirts.
You can get all sorts of cool Fishing Boat Docks apparel you'll just have to follow a link.
Yeah.
On my social
So
media
go
page,
Instagram or Facebook. Yep. Okay, cool.
In my bio, follow a link. It goes to DeVille. The DeVille is where all the merch is there. We just dropped some new stuff on there. That's some funny stuff.
That's awesome.
We got some funny, cool stuff coming out.
Dude, I saw so many of those hats. The classic. It was amazing.
It's so freaking good.
That's good for you.
It's good. It's fun. And it's trendy. It'll run its course. You guys remember, like, you don't remember because you're too young, but back in the day, Big Johnson T-shirts.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
This
those.
is the next.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the fish and boat docks will be next trending kind of thing
cool.
out there in the fishing world. And the amount, I'm not even going to tell you how many dollars that we've sold, but it would blow your mind.
That's good. Offset a little bit of those penalties. Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
But it's been cool, and people are wearing it across weighing stages. Matter of fact, this month of May, for every $5 somebody spends on fish and boat docks gear, they get entered into a drawing. For every $5, you get an entry. At the end of the month, we're going to give away a brand new American Hero Tier 1 bait casting reel of mine in the box, brand new, ready to go. We're going to start doing things like that, showing
love back.
Showing her love back, baiting people to come in and buy some more, of course. Let's talk business.
You ought to give a fishing trip away on this place because you're the king of this place.
We could.
Yeah.
We could do something wild like that.
Yeah.
But keep watching keep looking at stuff because I just want to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And there is serious parts of me, but I have always just wanted to make people laugh. And
we all appreciate it.
That's what I enjoy doing. Yeah. And I don't like my soul being sucked out of me. Yeah. And I want to get back to laughing again and having fun. And if you guys don't mind, I haven't announced it, but I had a great conversation with Chris Bowes and Hank Weldon at Bassmasters, and I need to fish some tournaments because I'm a fiend, and they're the dealers.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go fish the Northern Open.
Oh yeah, heck yeah!
Master, welcome back.
You ought to do well. No, it's very cool.
So at the end of this year, I will have 20 Bassmaster events under my belt in my life.
Wow,
that would be. So I got 17 Bassmaster events.
You're adding 3 more.
I'm adding 3 more. So at the end of the year, I have 20 Bassmaster people. It's so funny. Come back to the elites. I never was there,
dude. Then you'll have only 480 to go to catch up with Rick Clun. Dude, that's amazing.
How about that?
Nutty.
Golly.
He lives just up the road, too.
He does.
Yeah.
Cool dude.
Well, James, we always like sitting down with you and rapping. You're always a good time, and thank you for your candor and letting the people know exactly what's going on. Before we let you go, I don't remember exactly the advice you gave us last time, but change it up a little bit and give us some relationship advice. How about that? How about some relationship
do whatever
advice.
your woman tells you to do. She'll get beat.
Hey, right? Yeah. I got that one down.
Yes, ma'am. Moving out. How fast? Here I go.
Give us some relationship advice as we part ways.
Be cognitive of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Learn how to read between the lines.
There you go.
In life.
That's not just with the male and female relationship. That's with the business relationship, with any partnership.
Yeah. And I said it in the podcast. Just be nice. If somebody has a suggestion for them, salute them, thank them, and say, we'll see what we can do.
Respect
Just be respectful of that. And, some of the stuff, you talk about professionalism and stuff, some of the way I've acted has not been professional. I know that. I know it's been I've acted childish. Same. Yeah. I apologize for some of that. And you can sit back and throw rocks at me if you want. I'll dodge them. So that's all I can do. Thanks, guys.
All right, James, we really appreciate you. And hopefully you sell a lot more Fishing Boat Docks merch. And give away that fishing trip, dude. That'd be awesome.
Good luck to you guys.
Yeah.
Help me, and we'll do something this year somewhere.
Sounds good. Yep. Can't wait to see the new home. And again, I think both of them are going to be for rent, especially this one. The current home's going to be for rent. 7 bedrooms.
Rentbranson.com.
Absolutely.
Montage.
Yeah.
That's
great for the next big tournaments coming up on Table Rock Lake. Kimberly and City Ramps right there. Launch ramps all over. Yeah.
You can catch crawdads
long
here.
catcher crawdads. Have a big old crawfish cookout.
Yeah.
So James Worldwide Watson, thank you once again for being on.
Look how
and
slow, look, I was just
best,
slow.
yeah.
I was so up,
inching down.
I was up here. What happened? I got practice perfect posture. What happened?
PPP.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Watson,
guys.
you're the man.
Thank you.